It's so good to be with you all today as we're. It's all right. It's great to see everybody who's with us in person and in line, online. Can't even talk today. Been a little stuffy, but today we'll be talking about the significance of the rainbow. I've been told to be more academic, so I shall strive. But when we talk about the rainbow, especially this month, it happens to be prevalent because the rainbow has been made into something that it really wasn't all about in the beginning. So it began in the book of Genesis, and we'll look at Genesis chapter 9 a bit later, but you can go ahead and turn there if you want to and get ready. But it all starts on the account of Noah, one of the most well-known stories in the Bible. Not only does it symbolize a covenant between God, but it's also a symbol associated with His throne. It's actually found in multiple places in the Bible. But the story of Noah is what I'm going to talk about mostly today. You see, in the time leading up to Noah, humanity had become wicked, they corrupt. They were doing everything that they wanted, and that's all fine and dandy as long as everything you want to do is good. But what they were doing was wicked. It was immoral. It was sinful. They were sinning against God every day, no thought about it. It sounds a lot like what we see today. But God, He wasn't happy with it. He decided that, this ain't right. He was actually upset that He even made man. And He looked for anybody that was living for God. And He found one family. Amidst all the craziness, there was only one who stood out as righteous, as blameless. So God chose to spare Noah, and many of us have heard the story. But He built an ark. He gave him very, very specific instructions, and he spent years and years building an ark. While everybody made fun of him, they criticized him. They say, what's this guy doing? But it demonstrated his faith and his obedience. And for all those years building the ark with ridicule, it finally came the day when Noah was gathered together with his family and all the animals into the ark, and it started to rain and the flood, and people coming knocking. They couldn't get in. And it rained for 40 days and 40 nights while they sat in a stinky boat with animals. And animals stink. And I don't like stinky things. I would not enjoy sitting in that ark for over a month, having to smell and feed all the animals. Hard pass. But God got tired of all the sin, all the wickedness, and He wiped them out. He killed everyone. It wasn't just a nice fall asleep and you're gone. No, this was a terrifying event. People tried to swim. I mean, you could imagine being in the ark and hearing all the people screaming and not knowing what to do. People died. Animals died. Until finally, it's all peaceful. The rain finally stopped. And finally they come to rest on Mount Ararat. And God let them out, and God gave them a covenant, a promise that He would never flood the earth again. in a manner that would kill everybody. So if you look at Genesis chapter 9, and we'll start at verse 12, this is where he actually made his covenant. And I'm going to read it in a couple different translations. But I'll read it in the King James first. It says, "And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you. For perpetual generations I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on earth." I'll read it again in the Amplified because it's a little bit easier to understand. It says, "God said, This is the token of the covenant, the solemn pledge which I am making between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I set my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall become a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come about when I bring clouds over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the clouds. And I will compassionately remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and never again will the water become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the rainbow is in the clouds and I look at it, I will solemnly remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on earth." See, the rainbow was something that they could look at. Something every time it would rain. I mean, imagine being Noah. You just come through this massive storm, this ark, and rain's a new concept. It happened when the flood started, and you get out, and next week it starts raining again. Here we go, back up into the ark. Make sure we're not going to be drowned. That's why it was so important that when it would rain and the rainbow would come out, they could remember, hey, we were chosen because we lived for God. And God said He isn't going to flood and kill everyone on earth again with the water. But that's not the only place the rainbow is mentioned. But it's important that we know where it was established, where it began at. Because the rainbow is not used to represent something of sin. The rainbow is used to represent the promises of God. No matter how long or how hard it may rain, God will never use that to wipe out humanity again. It stands as a sign to be proud of living a lifestyle that God would choose you to save. In your family, even if everybody else is living in sin, God would look down and be able to find you. And so when we see the rainbow, we should think of God and His promise. But it's also found in Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 26 through 28. And it says, and this is Ezekiel having a vision of God and what he's going to prophesy and things like that. But chapter 1, verse 26, it says, "Above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness and the appearance of a man above it. And I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it. From the appearance of his loins, even upward, and from the appearance of his loins downward. I saw it as it were the appearance of fire, and it had a brightness around it, as the appearance of a bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain. So it was the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of God. And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spoke. It's Ezekiel having a vision from God, and he's seeing all these great things. He's seeing the throne of God, and he's seeing God on the throne, and around it this bright light, and there's a rainbow, reminding him that God made a covenant. This was God's throne, has a rainbow around it in his vision, so he remembers his part of the promise. But wait, there's more. In Revelations, there's yet again a vision given to John in Revelation chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. It says, Revelations 4, 1 through 3. And it says, After this, I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard, as if it were the trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee the things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that was set was to look upon like jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And when John saw the throne of God in his vision, he saw the rainbow around the throne. Just once again, that lines up perfectly with what Ezekiel saw. So around the throne of God, there is a rainbow there of his covenant, a reminder that he will never flood the earth again, a reminder that he made a covenant with Noah, who at the time was the only righteous person in the world. And especially this month, we see the rainbow a lot representing other things and representing sin. People flaunting their homosexual lifestyle, demanding includence and all this, and that's all fine and dandy if you want to be included, but we can't support sin. So whenever we see flags with the rainbow on it, that's great that you have that to look up to, but it actually means something entirely different than what people are trying to make it. So that's really all I got for you, is when you see rainbows, remember God's promise. What's up?
Rainbow